see my screen?
Yes.
Is it visible?
Yes, we can.
So, my name is Rimsha Majeed, and I'm working as a technical consultant of Dynamics 365 at Systems Limited. First of all, I would like to thank D365 Group and especially Faisal by you for starting this user group for Pakistan. This is a very great initiative. So congratulations to you for this as well.
Thank you.
Mentioned are my contact details. You can reach out to me through my email or LinkedIn. So coming towards the learning objectives for today, I'm going to focus on data management, the scenarios where we required, and how to export or import data from the legacy systems to D365 through tools which were not available in the earlier versions of Dynamics, and we'll also be focusing on web services. I'll be guiding you through how to create a service in D365 and expose it for the public API. So we'll first start from the intro to data management, and then we'll have a quick demo of how to import data from the legacy system to D365, and then we'll have an introduction to the web services, and then a quick demo of exposing a service as well. Data management scenarios, why do we need them? It totally depends on the stage of the project. You might be starting with a new environment that has a blind DB, which is typically when you start to create your own golden environment where you want to put all your configurations, right? So in that scenario, we need to manage the data or migrate the data, or we might have a potential team working on migrations that is analyzing what data we are going to bring from the previous system to the new system. Or we might have a project where we want to move the micro configurations from one legal entity to the other legal entity, or we might want to copy data between environments. These are some of these scenarios. So in D365, our lives are much easier now, as we have some frameworks and tools available which have made our life very easy. The first one is the data import and export framework. This is basically the tool that we'll be focusing on today, and we also have some other tools available which are database operations, which is used basically to move databases between environments under certain conditions or circumstances when we need that. We also have some data sharing framework. You can explore them, read about them, or so let's just dive into the data import and export framework. That is the center of attention of amongst the data tools that we have. So what happens here is, let me just minimize this screen. So in this framework, it basically stands for Data Import and Export Framework in D365, and it has its own benefits. The first, I would say, is that it allows us to import or export data from D365 or to D365 without writing any code. Yes, any functional or any business person can even do that. We don't need a developer for it. The other thing is it is useful for real-time integrations and also for asynchronous integrations when we require. So what happens is whenever we perform the data import and export framework, it always first gets a file, and these files will be stored in the central storage area in the application server, and from there it travels to the DISF service, and which is basically a Windows service, which means if you want to use it, it must be runnable in our Windows services, and then this DISF service communicates with the database through the SSIS. And in the database server, we have two tables. One is the staging table and the other is a target table. The staging table is basically it gets generated whenever we create a data entity, and it is used to map the column to the target table. And the target table basically refers to the root table where we want to perform the operations. All right, so let's have a quick demo of how we can do that. Uh, this is my Visual Studio in an administrator mode. Let us create a new project. Let me name this project as RM student detail project. Okay, so this is currently in my fleet management model. So in a scenario where we have data in our tables and we want to export it or we want to import it, we must have a table in D365. So let us start with creating a table, and let me name it student detail. Oh, sorry, I created a menu item instead. Let me just tell you. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. We have to add new item. We'll go to the table data model. We have table over here, and then we have our table. So we'll first add some fields into our table. So right click, new, string. Let's say we have a field name as first name of the student. We also mentioned the EDT as is the best practice. So we have different EDTs available in Dynamics. For first name, we have an EDT named as first name. So I'll just go with that. And then we also have, let's just create another field and name it as last name. There is also an EDT for this as well, last name. And let's just create a unique field for the index. Let's say it's the student's ID, and okay, student ID. All right, and let's just create one more field as the email of the student. Let me just give. Okay, so we also give recommend that whenever we create a table or entity or anything in our D365, we also give a label to it. Right now I'm just leaving it, but it's the best practice that we also give a label to our every artifact in D365. So let's just create a unique index. We are creating it because whenever we read or write, we import or export data, we need a unique index which gets pointed in Excel. So let's just name it as student ID, as I'll be making the index on the student ID. So let's just drag and drop that field over here, and we'll have the alternate key yes to enable if we don't do this, we will not be able to create the data entity. When we enable the alternate key to yes over here, we have to set the property in our table as well, and here we basically give the replacement key, which is the same as the index that we created. So whenever we import or export the data, it does that using this unique index that we have just created. After this, we just right click on the table and go to add-ins and try to create a data entity. Have been created and added to the project. So if I go here, you can see we have the security privilege, we have the data entity created for for the table that I just made. This is the data entity and the privileges. Let's just go through the data entity. If it created right, the data sources, it contains the table that I just created. This is the table, and you can see it create when I created the entity, it created the entity as well as the privileges and the staging table. As I told you, the staging table is used to map between the source and the target. So this is the data source table. These are my fields. In the key, I can see the entity key, which is my student ID, right? Let's just build and sync it. First, let's just, I'll just sync the database on build. I've set the property to true and then build it. So when it gets successfully built, we will go to our data management workspace and try to import and see if it works or not. Currently, we do not have any data in the table as we just created it. Meanwhile, let's just create an Excel file that will contain the data that we need to import into D365, and we have to make sure that the column names should be the same as the ones that we have described here. The field name should be same, should represent the names in Excel sheet. So first name, last name, student ID, and email. Let me just quickly create student ID. And the field is email. Let's say the student ID is 1. First name is Rimsha. .com. Let's say we have another student whose name is Vessel, and Vessel. All right. So we have the data. Let me just save it on the desktop and say it's file to file to all right. We have an Excel file. In real scenarios, we might have a big file containing a lot of rows, but here for the sake of simplicity, I'm just taking 2 rows, and so that we will verify if that works or not. Okay, I think the build is successful. Let's just see the output. Yeah, it's successful. So let's go to the oh God, why is it taking so much time? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, you are.
It's taking a bit of time to load.
That's all right.
let's just go to the workspace. From the workspace, we have to move to the data management type. So after this screen comes, and here we have a lot of different functionalities available. The import and export using templates and etc. We have two views. One is the enhanced view, and the other is the standard view. Let's just get to the import thing. We have to mention the group name while importing. Let's say RM user group. Okay. Then we have an option here of adding a file. Whatever file we want, we first need to give the entity name, and let's just see what was our entity name. Our entity name was RM underscore student details entity. So I'll select that. Student detail entity. This was my entity, and we have different formats available. Like even we can transfer data in Excel or CSV or comma separated files. We have different file options available. I'll select Excel because my the file that I created was in Excel, and then I'll just upload and add that file. RM file to be imported. So this is basically the file. Okay, so it has been loaded successfully. We'll close it. Here we can see the map. It basically maps shows the mapping between the source and the staging table. Email has been automatically linked with the email and the first name because we kept the names similar, so it does the mapping automatically. If the names are not same, then we can also come here, and we might have a different source name in the Excel and we might have a different name in staging. So we have to manually link them by coming over here and just dragging the field to the staging field. It creates a link between the two tables. So once we have this mapping successfully created, we go here, we say okay, we are good to go, let's just import it. It has been scheduled, and when we refresh it, we can see the job status, whether it has successfully run or not. As you can see, it's in execution state. Once it's successfully executed, there's a check mark here. So let's just refresh. Still in executing state. It might take a few minutes to execute. It basically runs with the batch job, so that's why it takes time. Still in executing state. Once we have this in process state or in completed state, we will be able to see the data that has been imported, and that will also be viewable in the student detail table. So see, we didn't have to code anything. We just did some updated some entity, and currently it doesn't. It's in that, and the entity is. Let's see if it has any records. It has not been successfully executed yet, so we currently do not have any data. But once it gets completed, that's strange that it's not getting executed.
Can you check your batch service is running?
Sorry?
Can you please check your batch service is running? Microsoft batch service?
Yeah, I checked that.
It's not running. So can you please start the service?
Uh,
Microsoft 365 Unified Operations Batch Manager.
yeah, correct. It basically is the batch management service. So the import and export runs in the batch job. So it was down, so we just started it from here. We also have this data import and export service. So I was looking at this, I didn't see this. We need both of these to be in the running state, otherwise our operation doesn't get successful. Okay, so meantime it's getting executed. Let me just dive into web services. We create web services because uh, wait a second. Yeah. Let's just get into the web services. What are web services? Basically, these are application components, reusable components, open protocols that we use to expose the D365 data, or to expose any data of any platform to the public. So we can use XML, JSON, or file format for the request and responses. And why do we need them? Obviously, we need them to publicly expose the data, and so that we can exchange data between different applications and different platforms, and we can basically give a link, or different application a way to link their data as well. So coming towards the data again, let's just reload it and see if it's a success yet. Otherwise we'll move towards it's not. I think we are missing some service. It's not. Oh, no errors, but it's not. Okay, it has been successfully run, tested by, but it's not showing the execution status. Okay, so these are the two data that I gave, if you remember, from the Excel sheet, Rimsha and Faisal, and Majeed and Fareed, and the email is also there. Let's just check on the table if we have the data in the table. Let's just load it. It doesn't seem like we have got the data in the table yet.
No, that's fine because it's still sitting onto the staging tables.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
there.
that's fine. So there is some service which is
Which is
causing the
missing right
issue.
now. So let's just move towards the service creation.
Yes, please.
Okay. So first of all, what I'll be doing, we need a contract to from a request contract basically, which AX will be getting, and based on that contract, X will be deciding that what is the requirement of the user, right? So let's just create a request contract first. The scenario is there will be a student ID that they'll be giving through the request service, and I'll be sending them the first name, last name, and email of the student. For that, I first need a request contract and response contract. Let's just create them. Uh, Class, let's say, sorry, details. Okay. So okay, so I have this request contract. I have to define it, give the data contract attribute to it, data contract, and I'll come here and initialize on the basis of the student ID, right? So I'll say, okay, it's student ID. Uh, we write here is basically we have to write that in the postman request as well. So this is the student ID. I'll tell you how we do that. Public string type or farm student type of student, which is basically I, and then and will return these. Okay, so this is the contract. I'll be getting student ID from the in the request. So I created a request contract for that. Now coming towards the response contract, let's just create one as well. Class, and we have some student. Response. Okay, so this is the response contract. We'll do the same thing that we did over there in the request. Define the data. The first name, whatever we are gonna send in response, we mention all these here. First name, we have first name, we name, say last name. So next we have the student ID. All right. Now the same thing. Let me just copy this from here. Let's see. Already running out of time. So yeah. First. Okay, so other thing that will be returning is last name and the email. There was email. All right. Let's see. name was of first name as EDT for the first name and last name. Good. Right now we'll go for the third. We're going to send in response. That is the email address of the student. So let's just create a power method for that as well. Shortcut in I don't know if it's okay. We give the EDT. Okay. Right. Looks good. Yeah. So we have created a response contract as well, in which we'll be sending the first name, last name, and email, as well as the student ID. Let me just copy this as it is, whom it's associated with. And now we'll just quickly create our service class. Okay, this already exists, so student details service class. Okay, so what this class is gonna do, our API will call this class, and whatever logic we have here in this class will be exposed depending on how we give it. So let's say okay, we have to keep this method as public. The response contract type, what will be the response contract type? RM underscore student details response. This is the contract that we created. We'll be sending the response in here, and the method. So what I'm expecting is I'll get a contract in this format, which is in this contract. Let me just declare it. Student details. I request. All right, and this is the response contract. I'll be returning it in this type, right? So let's just initialize it. And my table, which holds the data. This is my table. I'll initialize my table as well. Student details. Details. And I'll select, okay, select the student detail. Where student detail, student ID is equals to whatever I'm receiving in my request. I'm basically matching it with the request parameter, student ID. Whatever I'm receiving, I'll match it with if it exists in my student data. I'll say okay. If it exists, I'll. If it doesn't, I can create a node or message type of parameter and response contract as well, that okay, this record does not exist. But right now we are assuming that we already have the data that will be getting in the request, right? So let's just fill it with required data. For an email, will be email and form first name. first name. I'm getting all the data from the table and filling it in my contract, and then I'll have the student. Okay, so student ID over here, and I also have the last parameter that we have is the last name. Okay, so now student detail last name. So our and then we'll return the response. Cool. So we have the service class, which basically will be reading the data from the table. We have the response contract, in which we'll be sending the data. We can also create list in our response, or create a response in create another contract in our response contract. There are multiple ways to do that. The data contract is ready, and let's just quickly create a service. We have the service service. This is the service. We add the service operation. I'm so sorry, I'm taking a bit long. We had a time constraint limit of 35 minutes, I guess. Let's just give the class. We have to give the class name over here. My class for student detail service. This was my class, and you also have to it, and we define the operation of our class over here. So the method was get students details. So I give it here. This was my class service name, and this is my service, and we also have to create a service group. And then once we create it, I'll just show you how. Let's just check if it worked or not. Okay, there's some issues with the environment, I believe. Okay. After once we have that, I already created a demo kind of thing for you guys. There's this link that we need to give to run our service successfully. This is basically the name of our machine, and then API services, the group, the service group that we created, and the service name, and at the end we give the method name. All right, so I had already created one. Yeah, let me just quickly give the okay, authentication failed. Creating this, how we create the Postman request and response. You can go through some blog or read that. Even I have a blog for that. Yeah, so see, I gave the student ID and it returned me this response contract. So that's, I think, if anyone has any questions, we are already out of time, so please reach out to me on my contact mentioned on your screen. Thank you so much, Faisal Bhai, and for the time, Delia.
That's all good. All good. Thank you so much, and thank you so much. It was very insightful. With this one, I'll just quickly hand over to Ammar, our next speaker, and thank you so much, Rimsha, again, for your time and for all your efforts and taking time onto the weekend. It's never easy. So again, I would really like to thanks to you. So over to you, Ammar.
Thank you, Faisal. Thank you, Rimsha. Okay, can anyone? Everyone can see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So Just to give me. So, hello everyone. Basically, thank you Pakistan D365 and Power Platform Group, and a special thanks to Dynamic Community for providing us this platform where we can enhance our knowledge and share things related to finance and operations. Thanks to the community leader Faisal Farid as well for putting lots of efforts in building this user group and to give me opportunity to present a session to you guys. I hope all will be safe during this COVID time and helping each other to cope up with this difficult time. My name is Ammar Khan. I'm a senior consultant in DXC technology based in Melbourne, Australia. I look after areas of supply chain and manufacturing, such as procurement, sales, production planning, and production assembly. So if you want to reach us or if you want to reach me, you can just have my email address here, and the LinkedIn profile is also there. So about my topic today, we have an agenda of overview of intercompany, smaller business process, so that you guys can have what actually intercompany is, type of intercompany, the second topic, second thing. Then third, it would be questions to be asked from client during the implementation before doing configuration D365 related to intercompany. And then I will be followed with a demo of D365. So overview of intercompany. The reason of choosing this topic is that currently I have seen most of the clients which are using D365 has multiple companies all over the world. And I have found that clients are using this functionality more and more in the recent times. This might be the reason as business has changed over the years and companies establish more branches all over the world to reduce their operational costs, such as we can say that producing goods, labor cost. You can see that many companies all over the world has opened their branches in China as well, because it's now becoming a manufacturing hub. If we talk about intercompany in a simple language, it is a recording of a transaction between two related legal entities. So what does it mean, related company or legal related entities? So you have a concept of a parent company, and it has companies all over the world, which is known as a subsidiaries company or a related other companies. So if we talk about the common scenarios happening on our client, are mostly they are buying some items or services between each other, or they are just sharing some fees, any cost allocations, and financing activities as well. So this is the overview of intercompany. So we have some types of intercompany. We need to decide with our client that what type he will be using. For example, if we talk about the first one, which is a purchase order initiated intercompany chain 2 lakh, an intercompany chain in which the initiator of the intercompany is through purchase order. You create you create a purchase order first. So in this case, we start with intercompany by creating a purchase order, and the sale order will be auto created in other entity, which I will be showing you in my demo, which is planned later on. Second is sales order initiated intercompany chain, known as 2 leg as well. But in this case, sales order is created first by selling company, and auto purchase order is created in other company. So the third one is third type is where a sale order is created by an external customer, and we don't have an inventory to fulfill the demand of that customer, and we need those item goods from our company, which is our intercompany as well. So these are the three types. So we need to just ask our client first that what type of intercompany they will be using. So, as a functional consultant, it's really important to ask the right questions from to your client. So here are a few questions which you have to ask. These are limited to, but there might be many others as well. But I have listed few of them here. So what type of intercompany will client be using? Which company will be the initiator of an intercompany purchase order or a sales order? What are the intercompany pricing policies? Either you can sell your intercompany into a cost price, into any purchase price, or different companies make different policies regarding that. Information about the mode of deliveries and other things, what they will be using and all that, because the synchronization of a data is really important in intercompany. The fourth question would be regarding the tracking dimension. For example, when we will be just buying or selling our goods, will it be what tracking dimension will be using, whether it would be a badge or a serial number. And then information about the direct delivery orders. Direct delivery orders, I will explain it later on in my slides as well, which will give you the good idea of what direct delivery orders are. So what are the setups required? So we have some setups to which needs to be configured before we want to run intercompany smoothly. Same item should be present in both the purchasing and the selling company. If you have open an item in one legal entity, we can release an item to other entity, which is quite a simple process. If you create one item in one legal entity and then you can release an other legal entity as well. So it's really important to have a same item in both the legal and buying and the selling entity. So one more thing, just to focus on here, so in my implementation, I found that Microsoft D365 does not support procurement categories. So the workaround would be to use service item, because we mostly use procurement category for the expense, where we don't want to create an item and we just have some few expenses. So we can use the procurement category for creating a purchase order. So Microsoft does not support procurement category. So the workaround would be to use the service item. Vendor and customer should be created. Vendor in the purchasing entity and the customer in the selling entity should be created. Sale price or purchase price should be set up if we are not using cost price as a pricing factor. So selling price and the purchase price should be there, which depends on who is the initiator of the intercompany chain. Default storage dimensions such as site and warehouse should be present on item, customer, or a vendor. Otherwise, system will not auto-populate the line to other entity. You have seen that whenever you are creating a purchase order and a sales order, the storage dimension are necessary. When you are creating a PO line, unless you put the warehouse or site, the system will not accept or save the purchase order. So it's really important to give a default dimension either on the customer, either on the item or a vendor. Otherwise, you will be getting error. So okay, so we have some reports as well. I have just listed down one report, which is the available report, which you can find in inquiries and report, inventory value report, where you can see that how many intercompany good in transit are. So you can just check with this report as well. So these are the few setups which are mandatory and are required to run the intercompany smoothly. So now, we are just deep diving into the more intercompany setups. The first setup is that you need, the first setup is trading. You need to create a trading relationship between the vendor and the customer. You can see that in my example, the DEMF entity will be the buying goods from USMF. Once you set up this, you can just activate the relationship whenever you want it. If you could just see that there is an activate checkbox there. So you can just activate this relationship whenever you want. So just to share my tip here, during my project implementation of D365, when we are on the phase of migrating legacy data such as purchase order and sales order, you need to make sure that the strategy for migration of intercompany sale order and purchase order should be discussed with client, and it should be agreed as well. Because if you would be having a setup of intercompany activated while uploading purchase order, system will automatically create intercompany sales order. So you need to discuss with your client that what would be the cutover strategy, that either we want to use this process. So and we have an option to just mark it no and just upload the purchase orders and sales order, and then we can mark it yes whenever we get live. So this this needs to be discussed with your client. So here, what I told you, that DEM is the buying company and USMF is the selling company. So I will be buying from USMF. So I have activated the relationship. Now, if I go to the second one, if I go to the second slide, just hold on. Why? Okay, so these are the purchase order policies. which is the second setup. So what we need to do here, in this setup, you can determine auto posting and printing of your document, such as printing packing slip and invoice for original sales order, our direct delivery orders, and auto posting of invoice as well. So here you can see that there are different configurations related to that. So what these options are doing: print packing slip automatically. Select this parameter to automatically print the packing slip on the original sales order when the packing slip on the intercompany sale order is posted. So this, it's depend on your requirement, that what is your client requirement. And the next is this post invoice automatically. So we can post invoice automatically. So this parameter is used for automatically posting the original sale order invoice when the intercompany sale order invoice has been posted. So these are the few setup. If I go to the next setup, which is related to the prices. So here you can see that you can just put this checkbox to have a price and discount search at the purchase order level. And if you have put in this check boxes too, then you can also edit the price on and the discount on the purchase order. So just to give a concept of a direct delivery order, which I have discussed before, the concept of direct delivery is that, for example, you created a sales order for a customer, and in your organization you don't have enough stock to fulfill the customer demand. So so you can raise a direct delivery order which will link with this sales order. So when the goods will be ready on vendor side, your vendor will directly dispatch those goods to your customer, not you. So here we have skipped the process of delivering to your company first and then dispatching to customer. It will so what is the benefit of getting it? It will save our time and cost as well. So direct delivery is also linked with because for example, I have a company in China. So when I create for example, I create in my one legal entity, my customer just ask me to just deliver some goods. So I ask my intercompany who is based in the China that kindly deliver that goods directly to my customer. So this will what will happen, system will automatically copy the details of the delivery address and all that, and system can use that and the people can use that details and for the delivery purposes. So the other is the charges allocation. So when using direct deliveries, you can select an allocation method for charges to apply to the intercompany purchases orders, such as on the basis of net amount quantity per line. So that's charges quite, we can just do the charges allocation on the basis of net amount quantity per line. So this depends all. Okay, so these area, moving to the synchronization parameter, this area we called it synchronization parameter. The customer information parameter in the header group for the intercompany purchase order and the intercompany sale order controls the customer information synchronization. So you can see that I have checkbox. I have put in the checkbox here, customer information on the header. So what will happen whenever the intercompany purchase order and direct delivery purchase order will be creating? So the information on the customer header will be automatically copied. For example, delivery addresses. Because whenever we want to dispatch directly from China, for example, or any other country to our customer, then they would need a delivery address as well. So delivery address copy and other information, for example, RMA number, badge number, serial number can also be copied. So same like as on an original sales order as well. Then I move to a purchase value mapping. So moving to the next step is the business relations such as intercompany trade. The trading partner must find a common base for their company data, because in company A there would be a different mode of delivery. In company B there would be a different mode of delivery. So we need to make sure that they must find a common base for their company data, so that they should not get errors doing the intercompany. So for these value mapping parameters are really important. So I recommend all of you to use our. So what our means, once you will be going into sales value mapping here as well, the same screen would be coming. So one is for the purchase and the second one is for the sales side. So I will recommend to use each and every company would be having its own modes of delivery and all that. So you can use our setting as an initial steps. And we have a purchase agreement policies as well. So you can use the purchase agreement for the prices as well. So here you can just define that. Can I allow the purchasing company to add it on hold or effective of the purchase agreement or not? Allow edit or validity period, and allow price edit and allow price discounts on that particular purchase agreements. Then I have a setup of sales order policies. If I go back, remember there was a purchase order policies. Now, if I move back to, so we have a sales order policies as well. So first of all, if you have to provide the number sequence. For example, whenever the purchase order will be, when you will be creating the purchase order, you would be having a sales order number sequence in other company as well. So you can just define a different type of number sequences here. For example, you can define a number sequence code or company plus original as well. Company plus original means as well that the company name would be coming and the original purchase order number would be coming. So if it would be like this setup, it can be very useful when you are finding the intercompany orders. So the next thing is you can default the payment journal setting as well, but it is not mandatory. So same, you can post the journal automatically as well if you want to automate your process. Okay. The next thing is the unit. In some intercompany relationship, the intercompany vendor is advised to sell the item to the intercompany customer at a price of that is equal to the cost price instead of applying trade agreements or a standard purchase prices. So here, if you want the unit price equals to the cost price, then you have to put this checkbox. If the next is intercompany sale order, say like a purchase mentioned on the back slides, that if you want to allow the price added on the sales order, allow the discount added, you can do it from by putting the checkbox here. So here you can see that it's more a synchronization of data, that the customer information or had the information same like what we did in the purchase order, that the information needs to be copied to the other purchase order, which is automatically creating. So there are these are few synchronization. You can just put this according to your requirement. Same after that, I will be moved to the sales value mapping. For example, it was the same screen. I remember I told you to just keep this to hour because every company should be having its own mode of delivery. But you can keep to the external codes as well if any other requirements would be there. So I would recommend to use it. Okay. Now moving to the sales agreement. Before that, I discussed about the purchase agreement. Now it's a sales agreement, so you can just do the mapping of the sales agreement and here as well if you want to just allow setting on the hold effective or edit the validity period or any discount added or price discount. So that's the major 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are the major setups which you need to do for your intercompany. Okay, so I will move to the demo so that you could have little idea about that how it is run in D365. Okay. Okay. Yep. So here you can see that I'm in a DEMF company, and I have opened another browser as well as a USMF company, which was our selling company. So if I go into the all vendors, I have a vendor of US-001. So I have already created this vendor. If I go into, you can say that we have these tab. If you go into the journal tab, there is an intercompany setups there. So you remember, I just showed you this screens about that. So you can just check that whether this vendor is configured or not. So you can see all these information here. regarding the setup. If I close and I just select this vendor, which was the one which was configured. So you can see that this is activate as well. Okay, the good thing is that you just need to, whenever you are doing the configuration on a one company side, the same configuration comes to the customer side as well. So if I open this customer, which is also there. So this is my selling company, USMF. Don't forget about that. So if I go into the intercompany, so you can see that same setting is coming here. Same setting would be coming here. So the good thing Microsoft has done that you don't need to go to the other company to just set up the customer data, customer related information. You can do in a single screen here, and then all the information will be copied to the other one. So now coming to my modules, I will be creating a purchase order quickly. Okay, so I'm creating a new purchase order. So my vendor was this one, US001. So when I select this vendor, you can see that this intercompany checkbox automatically comes here. So I will create, okay. So once I will click, okay, see, we have got a message. What is the message? See, that's really important. They just this is the receipt date is not valid because that's leave it because that's not a. The other one is important. Intercompany sale order has been created. So the intercompany sale order has been automatically created into a other entity. So see what will happen that now the sales order has been created. I will add a line here quickly. I will add a line. I will do to quantity, for example, and then I will go and confirm the purchase order. The confirmation is important. Otherwise, when you are receiving the good, it will give you the error that the purchase order has been not confirmed. So you need to confirm the purchase order. So the purchase order has been confirmed. So the other thing, from where we can see that this order has been linked to the other company sales order. So you can go into the journals and in journal and related order information. Once you click the related order information, you can find that this is the sales order number which has been created and see that it is coming into an intercompany sales order. So what I will do, I will copy this number and you can directly double click it and it will take you to the other legal entity as well. But I'm not doing right now. I will go into that legal entity and I will go into my sales and marketing or AR module, sales and marketing, and I will go to my sales order and search for this order. Otherwise, if I will double click it, it will also take me to this company. It automatically changes it. So just to find that, so I can have this sales order. So you remember, I just create a two quantity that D100. See, all information has been copied here automatically. All that, even the unit price has been picked from the purchase order to here. No need to give the purchase price if you're initiating processes from the purchase order. No need to give the purchase price. Oh, sorry, sales price. Just give a purchase price, so you will get a price here. So then the other company, will go to pick and pack. This is the selling company. They will generate a picking list. Well, basically, what is a picking list? Picking list is, you are just giving your instruction to your warehouse individual to pick these two items. So I will create a picking list. So we can use picking list in multiple ways, but right now I have used that picking list has been created. Now this picking list, I will send it to the warehouse individual so that you have to pick these two items. After that picking list registration is the process. My warehouse worker, what he will be doing once he will be loading the goods into the truck, he will be doing this picking list registration. So now the status of this inventory would be pick status. After the picking status, I will be posting the packing slip. At the time of packing slip posting, it would be, it's packing slip. In different countries, the label can be changed to a delivery note as well. So Microsoft just changes according to the localization these labels as well. So right now I'm in US entity, so it is this packing slip posting. So once the packing slip posting will be done, so it actually, my inventory is getting out from my system. For example, if I would be having a 10 quantity, so now 2 item has been gone out or just put in a truck. So it means that now I have available inventory of 8 quantity. Okay, so it's the packing slip has been posted. Now, if you want to do the invoice at this stage, you can just do the invoice as well. Let me quickly do the invoice as well, and click OK. So the invoice has been created against the my intercompany customer. So now the goods are in transit, and it is coming. It has been gone. So the invoice has also been created. Now coming back to that, my buying company. That is my buying company. So I confirm the purchase order. Now basically I'm receiving the goods. So what will happen? See, I will create a product receipt. So I was talking between you guys that the synchronization of data. So you can see that the product receipt has automatically came the DC, the delivery challan or a packing slip number of that customer. When he was dispatching the goods, he put that number, and this number has been automatically copied here. So usually when I creating a purchase or receiving of any purchase order, I put here the number as per my vendor's DC number. So this has been all there. The 2 quantities are there for this item. I will create OK. Wait. So now the product receipt has been created. It means that the inventory has been entered to my DEMF company. So now, for example, if I was having an inventory of 10 before, now my quantity will become 12. So you can see that. After that, you can just book the invoice. One more thing I just need to show you here is that when you are booking the invoice, so you need to give the invoice number and the posting date and the invoice date. Now system is automatically copied that. So system is automating few of your processes. So just post the invoice. Okay, so the invoice has been posted. You can see that in going into the inventory lines, you can see that on-hand inventory has been increased. So if I go into the overview and go into the transaction, it will show that I have received the quantity of 2 with this intercompany order, which was, you can see that the 36 was my order and 2 quantity has been purchased. Okay, one more thing I just need to, have completed the process. So you can, there are different options. You can automate the invoicing process as well. You can, for the direct delivery order, for example, if one company is making the delivery note, the delivery note should automatically create it in the other company. So it's all depend on your configuration and the requirements of the client. So one more thing, intercompany on hand. So whenever we have a relationship with a company, and before ordering, we just need to check that what quantity we have right now as related to that item, which is an intercompany one. So you can just go into the intercompany on hand, and you can see that in DEMF, we have a physical inventory of 126, and USMF, which was a different company. You remember the seling company. So I can even found here in this overview that what is the inventory level of inventory in the other my selling company as well. So these are the few, was a very basic process of intercompany. So I hope that you guys have understand it, but still there are many things related to intercompany which need to be discussed with your clients before configuring this. So any question, anything related, because we have some time constraint as well, I will be available. If I go back to my just presentation. So basically, that was a little giving you the flavor of intercompany, a normal intercompany. And thank you for just attending this session. I hope that if anyone have a question now or in the future, whenever they are discussing something with their clients and they have some additional requirements of intercompany related, I would love to have an idea of that requirement as well and discuss with you guys as well. So if you want to reach me, you can just reach me on my email address here mentioned. I have a WhatsApp number there as well. You can just give me, you can just connect me on the LinkedIn as well. So thank you. Thank you for attending this session.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ammar. It was very insightful, very, very, very detailed thing. We will definitely come back to you if anyone has come back with any questions. It was great session, I must say, and thank you for giving your time out of your busy schedule and over the weekend. And thank you everyone who has joined today, spending time with us. This user group is for everyone. So I would really like to thank again Dynamics communities for giving us this opportunity to have this user group for Pakistan. With this one, stay safe and have a good weekend.